afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I can't tell you how thrilled I am when I was told that I'll be here this session with ma'am. To be with a legend, to listen to, and so obviously it really, really got me excited to with a legend. Though she says now she's DRDO, but everyone says the missile woman is what we are with, and so that was very, very thrilling for me. And what was more thrilling was the fact that for a media person who had some roots in science, but today is talking about the role of science in building the country or building a nation. The role of science, and to all of you, I'm sure you're familiar. If you today, unfortunately, the world thinks that they go around because of trade and commerce, but actually nations are built on science. And example of that is here. So I thought I'll break this conversation with ma'am in two parts. One is to talk about her views on what can be done to scale up this sensibility to science in India. And second, I'm sure all of you would be keen on her personal life story, because that itself is a way for people to emulate, and there's a lot to be learned there in that part. So this is the two parts. I'll break it up. After that, we'll be happy to ask questions. So, ma'am, I think I'll start with the quote, which is I picked up, and I think it's true for all scientists, and particularly true for you. The quote is as goes: "Scientists are like seeds in a fertile ground, not visible today, but give fruit to the entire village over a period of time." How do you react to this, ma'am?
It's definitely true statement. Very good afternoon to all of you. Science, if we in relating to my own experience, I can say, when 30 years before we started with the IGMDP program, missile program, with our great visionary Dr APJ Kalam, visioning it for the country, developing systems. That was the time when neither the science was known to us, the technology was developed, and no infrastructure of manufacturing capability. So and almost 20 to 30 years it took to realize systems of world class. And today we are self-sufficient in all these class of missile systems, starting from tactical to strategic missiles. So that says that with time and effort, only things can be proven, and science takes its own time in developing the technology. Maybe today's knowledge or technology know-how and know why is known to us, so we can do it at a faster rate. That's the way.
But ma'am, you mentioned the cost. You missed out mentioning the cost. You're world class today, but at cost which probably would be
Definitely,
minuscule.
our country, we each penny spent is counted. So we work with systems at a very low cost compared to all other Western countries.
Ma'am, you want to share some experiences with the legendary Dr. Kalam, in terms of how you built up the science temper in the fraternity and how you encourage people like you to grow?
Yeah, I was really fortunate to start my career as a junior scientist under Dr. APJ Kalam. He was the director. So, as a young scientist, we got the opportunity to be present in almost all scientific discussions, arguments, technical reviews, which, as he as a director used to say, let the young scientists speak. So, we were given the opportunity, and which gave us the freedom to speak about what we know and learn from the seniors and get the expertise from them. So the confidence in us, he is the one person who gives us confidence to speak what we feel about the science or about the technology, and we could learn along with all other seniors. That makes he's an open-minded person with helping us in every aspects of our career.
And if you see in that journey, what would have been some of the milestones or the high points which you saw, as achieving a lot in terms of profession?
Yeah, actually, I'll take the example of development of strategic systems. We started with Agni 2 with a range capability up to 2000 kilometers. Then the requirement of a single stage motor for a shorter range, 300 to 700. So the technology by steps we learned a lot, because initially it was to technology which goes high above the atmosphere, and re-entry technology was more important. Then came the requirement of multiple ranges, so we had to establish the solid rocket motor with variable range capability and the guidance scheme for that. So that was taken up as a and I was fortunate to be the designer for those guidance schemes. Then Agni 1, 2, and 3 is a particular class of technology. Then when we look at world class technologies, world talks about we have Agni 3 with 50-ton launch mass and reaching up to 3,000 kilometers, whereas world class talks about 3,500 kilometers. Why this technology gap? So I was designated for taking up the Agni 4 program, where in which we had to bring in the composite rocket motor case technology first time in our country. First of its kind technology getting proven, starting from raw material design to the development of that composite rocket motor casing, first time in the country. And we achieved a mass fraction. The benefit of weight was the order of 40%. And in a missile project, unlike launch vehicles, 1 kg addition, if it is there in the missile thing, we lose range capability of almost 5 kilometers. So we are being taught to engineer the units or the systems in milligrams. So we used to weigh each component, and very crucial and critical with respect to the range requirements. So that is how, with finally when we came to the with the composite rocket technology for the 2 stages of Agni 5, we could achieve with the same 50-ton, what was the Agni 3 weight for the launch, we could achieve 5,000 kilometers. So that is the way the technology enhancements have happened.
So what would be your personal high? Which we call your personal high? Agni 4? Or what you, your high point would have been what?
Yeah, that is developing technologies for the first of its kind in the country, where we even struggle to develop the raw material. Then the technology development, going through the fabrication process, and even the manufacturing facilities are not available in the country. 2-meter diameter steel structure, the machining of that was not possible when we took up Agni tree in the country. So all this type of technology gaps, and we establish this. It's when we say the team of scientists all across the country work for this type of projects, and when we establish these technologies and get it proven through a flight test and successful and successive flight tests and proving it, gives us the immense satisfaction of developing technologies. So when it came to Agni 4, it was full of from the tip of the missile to the bottom of the missile was world class. We took up technologies which was not existing across. So that is what we
Very
could
nice.
achieve all those in one.
I hope it's an inspiration to those who hear this later on, especially
Thank you.
it was a really remarkable story for the country. Ma'am, the other thing is, you see all the great work which has happened. Coincidentally, it's happened in government organizations, DRDO, ISRO, health you see, agriculture you see. Do you think private sector could do a lot more in enabling some of the development of science and STEM, the attitude to STEM in India?
Definitely, because we need, as I mentioned, science has to get the development happens in particular technology. It takes its own time and maturity period to prove itself. So once it needs a finite time. But today, when we look at the technology, we are far better off. I'm talking about 30 years before, there was nothing. I mean, raw material not there, fabrication not there, there's no industry available where we can say defense products can be made. But today it is not the situation. The environment has changed, the ecosystem has been built up. Now taking steps to the private industry, taking up the research on their own in-house, also will give the type of results what we think that government organizations can do. Only difference is, yes, the commercial aspect and the government organizations, R&D organization, focus to get particular outcome, and an industry with commercial oriented aspect. There's two different way to look at
Naturally.
the things. That's
And this is the larger point I want to raise, in this country where there's so many bright people who go abroad and do the same thing. As the story goes at JPL, the 50% or 40% of the people in JPL are Indians. So what do we do to inculcate that habit in our youngsters? Here they go into the IIT, which is the purest form of STEM, and then half of them get into MBAs or do commercial jobs. What is your suggestion there?
that part is very true and very sad. Like we give the best of the education in IITs, and presently almost all the educational academic institutions have coming up to that level of teaching or learning. But the high package, the salary package, what it matters for the students. Unless otherwise we change their attitude when they are scientific, inculcating scientific temperament in the students when they are young in the school itself, where we can change the style of learning has to be different, where they get the hands-on experience like going through exhibitions, going through audio and video system. The style, once they understand the science, I think it becomes very interesting, and critical thinking of the students change, and the passion towards working for the science is definitely. In my days, I had only the textbook knowledge, but I was curious to know more about the science and the mathematics. That's how which landed me into the engineering stream and then to the missile field.
So obviously, commerce is something which will come at some point in time. Like I said in the quote, it takes time because for the fruit to come, it will take time.
Yeah.
But what do you think could be done? As you said, the scientific temper which has to come in school levels. The problem is we don't have enough uh, right quality teachers to teach science there. It's all a lot of it is by rote. So maybe that's where private sector can play a role. If you get quality education,
Yeah.
not to look at just what they're getting commercially out of it, but CSR. Any thoughts there? Because I heard you say before we came in that a lot of it depend on the primary school education of
Correct.
the scientific temper. Would you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, definitely. If the schools can be supported by industry through their CSR projects, as you mentioned, which gives research projects can be given to the school level itself. And presently, it's a era of artificial intelligence, machine learning. The children are taught from the very beginning of their education. They get they get into the science of it, and then things can be different. Like when we were studying, we have seen the punching card computer systems. We have used programming punch cards. I don't think any of this generation knows what, when we say punch card, they can't even imagine what it is. But then we worked with the analog systems. Today is the world is changing. The children are more faster in operating the computer systems than all laptops and all than us. So if this is the right time for the change in technology, which is with respect to the advanced technologies like AI, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, cognitive computing, I think cloud computing, Internet of Things, Internet of Behavior, Internet of everything. I think it's an amazing world of innovation. All is that someone has to take the initiative to bring in all these methods of science learning in the school level, which is going to give a vast change in the children's attitude and temperament towards developing scientific temperament within the country.
I also think, I may embarrass you, but I think one is what you correctly said. How do we inculcate at the young level? Also, the role models we create. I mean, in this country, role models have been cricketers, have been Bollywood stars. But if scientists start becoming role model like you, yours truly, that itself, that, people say, listen, young girls say, listen, I want to be the next person learning this. So what could be done in that direction? I mean, I know it'll be difficult for you to say that, but I can say that, we should create a story of building role models all over the world. There are role models.
Yeah, definitely. I can tell from my own learning or my own capability and how the confidence has come. Because it's once we learn, we become more knowledgeable, that gives you the empowerment to talk. Like technical arguments, we sit across and talk with very senior scientists when I was junior. So when I'm talking, I know that I am talking with confidence with what mathematics or science what I am talking. There would have been very difficult for them to accept it at that point of time, but things have changed. So it's the knowledge what it matters, and if you are able to attain that knowledge by learning, there are many means today to learn. By learning, the person becomes a empowered person with respect to the technology, know-how and know-why. That makes builds in the confidence, and one can proceed.
You
Anything can be
obviously
taken up.
are humble that you steered away from the role model point I was making. So I think,
That's
let me say this, since we are at a media, for a festival which is funded by the media, I think it is the job of media to ensure that we have role models like ma'am, outside the sports and the entertainment space, that's how temper will come, because young children will want to emulate leaders like this.
yeah.
So I think,
What you said is true. When I visit some of these schools, colleges, and all, children come and tell, when I'm in the engineering college, said, I have met you during the school session, one of the your talk. So I feel really happy that, and this generation can do wonderful things than what we could imagine. So that's the world around us, and let it happen. That let us guide them to the scientific temperament in the school level, so that they get more knowledgeable.
Also, do you think, I know STEM just now still very small, especially you see MPhils, PhDs is hardly about 10 lakh, 12 lakh, small numbers. But as you said, it has to start at the school level, the temperament has to come. Do you see any difference from, say, 40 years back in the gender issue, that is any bias now, or enough women coming in, enough girls coming into science now, or is there a potential to
Yeah.
grow there?
Gender parity has to, in all terms, it has to come as an opportunity, as obligations, as rules, everywhere. That 50%, because the population is
Yeah.
50%, uh, as when we say about gender equality all across the world. So this concept of accepting the gender, like gender equality, has to come in every spheres of life. So if people start giving the possibilities, giving the power, and I mean, allow the women to progress, things will definitely going to change.
And leaders like Dr. Kalam had a big role to play in ensuring there was equality in this sense, seeing the track record.
Yeah.
What would you say? Dr. Kalam had a.
Yeah, Dr. Kalam has seen us as scientists only. So I
No matter.
always used to say science has no gender. It's the scientists what we work. So there's no women scientist or men scientist. When we are working for the technology, working for a project of national importance. When we are given that responsibility, it is with that responsibility we are working for the nation. So there's no gender coming in that, and especially with DRDO and ISRO type of organizations, this type of bias will not come, even nuclear technologies also. But sometimes it so happens, most of the cases is the hidden bias, and this hidden bias starts from our own home itself. The constraints are created within the family, that the girl cannot go late hours. I mean, the safety, the environment in which society as a whole has to change. So once we start respecting the society and we start respecting every human being who's in the society, then things will start changing. Respect all, give them a safe and a healthy environment to work in. I think they
Very well said.
the
Respect all is the mantra.
irrespective of the gender, they will do the can perform well.
So if you were to look back in your journey, there have been some low points also. There have been some tough challenges. Something you want to share for the others to learn from.
Yeah, in a launch of missiles of this nature, we go through prepare the missiles, technology developed. Each launch is like a new event, new technology, because out of thousands of kilometers of cables run across connectors, connections, um, 10,000 numbers of connections, and one small strand of the cable comes out, the mission becomes a failure. So you would have seen our launches are not aired in media, but you would have seen ISRO launch consoles and mission control rooms and all, where we monitor the parameters, the health parameters of the launch vehicle and the systems, subsystems, more than 500 to 600 parameters at a time. So these, so criticality going through all this, and we have once faced a failure for Agni 3. First 70 seconds, super. It is like textbook launch going through, and suddenly the system fails. We lost the control and system has fallen. To analyze that, going through that iteration of going, because none of the systems within milliseconds is showing a deviation. In the last 10 milliseconds, the systems malfunction. So analyzing that and going through is something a task of all the scientists across our country were involved. And finally we could say, somewhere one of the senior scientists asked whether is the possibility of any fire getting induced, any short circuit fire and all. Then only we also knowledge wise, we had a technology gap, knowledge gap, that with the 2-meter dia, the plume expands at a higher altitude, and something called a reverse flow happens along with the missile flow path. So, and that small gap in the missile base road, the fire could enter, the hot air could enter, and it would have. That was the cause. So we had to, we didn't, our country at that point of time didn't have the computational capabilities to simulate such a phenomena or learn about the things. Once we started knowing and reading about it, we could know that this phenomena would have happened, and then we have taken up the work of computational dynamics, and then analyzing it, combining so many computers to supercomputers together, and then got the results. So it's these are all learning curve in a scientific environment where lot of knowledge gap, because there is nobody to tell us, nobody within the country knows about this. There are our generations have learned it in a hard way, but today it is not the case. The computational capabilities are, when I used to execute a computer program in Fortran for the mission analysis, we used to give it in the day, today evening means next day morning or sometime only the program gets executed. Compile and execution takes that type of a thing in a mainframe. Today it is faster than real time, faster than fairies. With a click of your button, the program compiles and gives you the result. So there is a vast change in technology and inputs, and that's the way we come out of low points like this. Fail need not be there always. Like Dr. Kalam used to say, fail is first attempt in learning. He always says only the first attempt. So that way, going through some of the failure experiences is few of low points. That's the only when we feel that efforts of more than 4 5 years we could improve it. So that's part of our learning curve.
What a wonderful story. We must give a round of applause for that story. You know, I don't know if you, she said it so effortlessly, and how many of you understood with so much years and pain of hard work, and then you see it coming down. But to stand up and say, listen, we will fight, we will figure out what went wrong, and failure is the first learning, is a wonderful line will stay with all of us. Again, I think really, really appreciate this. So if you were to, I mean, these are really moving moments, but if you were to say that, if I go back to my question of how do we, some of these learnings, how do we bring them to these young people to bring their temperament? One, of course, is mass level, getting the right education and the right teachers to train them at schools. But what else could be done? You know, we used to have so many schemes to get young people interested. what else could be done to get young people interested in, maybe visits, maybe chats? What do you suggest? What could be?
No, today, one students should made understood that technology is the one which is going to make the change with respect to the all developments. Once that is uh, taught to them, or if we can teach them what the technology and the science is about at a young age, when they can understand and build up the passion in or inculcate the scientific temperament, I think they themselves, children, are going to ask, I want to do this. So unless otherwise we give the practical solutions and practical understanding of a scientific problem, that can start like industry, government initiated programs are there. Rashtriya Avishkar Abhiyan, Atal Innovation Mission, where I think more than thousands of 10,000s of Atal Innovation labs have started, tinkering labs have started. Then all across the industry also have started up their research labs, where in which they can give some of these projects to the school level, not at the college level. College level has better opportunity to get funds from other places. Schools has to be given that funding, so that they can get up, they can teach in a different way. The learning style can change from present today's school book level to audio video, giving them and explaining them what it means. We all learn Newton's law of motion without understanding. 1, 2, 3 karke we were. But today, when I went for the rocket technology to work with the missiles, each of these three laws has to be applied in principle, and that is where I understood what these laws means. But in school level there was no way we could, but presently it is not that, and there is an opportunity, and we should all work towards making that happen within the school. So I think government has initiated NEP 2020 based education, which is giving lot of application oriented learning, so that children get the spirit of learning and research from very beginning. That will make a lot of change. That's what I feel as a individually. I feel that.
Ma'am, before I throw it up for the questions, I want to ask you, feel comfortable answering your personal life. I mean, this sort of all the effort you put in all the time. How did your personal life go along with this?
Yeah, that's a challenging balance we call life and career balance, work and home friend balance. It's easy said, but like for me, the routine used to start when my son was in the higher schools, where the day used to start by 5 o'clock in the morning and ends up, there is no ending time, because I myself used to get held up in office. But then the thing is that the child was learning by himself. He was knowing what I am working for. My husband was in the Navy. So both of us together gave a totally a defense atmosphere to him. He was, with God's grace, he was learning on his own, and work life. Maybe we would have made some compromises in the way we would have lived otherwise, maybe from point of entertainment or but totally dedicated for the cause of the nation, and that made us, and the responsibility on our shoulder made us a different person, work for the cause, and we did it.
And
So
he's-
there was a lot of support from my husband, my family, my mother, my in-laws. There was always somebody or the other to help me in every step of my
and he
life.
must be a proud boy today.
Yeah.
He must be a proud boy today that,
Yes, yes.
So with that, I throw it open for the audience, and audience wants to ask any questions of ma'am.
Madam, in Kerala or in our India, a lot of people having highly qualified, like in guidance control from IASC and this engineering colleges. And most of them are not working. They are maybe teachers, taken guidance. And can we start a business, a technical school under your roof, under your umbrella, in the budget, so that the youngsters can be trained with that? If we spend in European countries, we have to spend $25,000. Here, they can pay 25,000 rupees only.
Yes, yes, I am ready. Now I am a retired government official. We can think about a startup like this, which will really give impetus to the school level education. If we can contribute, nothing like it.
മാഡം മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിക്കുകയാണ്.
ചോദിക്കാം.
നമ്മുടെ ശാസ്ത്ര സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ വിശ്വാസവുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടിട്ട് ചില റിച്വൽസുകളൊക്കെ ലോഞ്ചിങ് സമയത്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. ഇതൊരു വിവാദമായിട്ട് ചോദിക്കുന്നതല്ല, എങ്കിലും സയൻസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അൺസർട്ടൻറ്റി, അതിനകത്ത് നാച്ചുറലായിട്ട് വരുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളെ നമ്മൾ ആ ഫാക്റ്റിനെ ശരിയായിട്ട് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. അപ്പം നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു ആഗ്രഹം എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കണം എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിലാണ് നമ്മളുടെ പ്രാർത്ഥന നിൽക്കുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസുകളിലൊക്കെ ഇപ്പോൾ കൾച്ചറൽ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടൊക്കെ ഓക്കെ, പക്ഷേ എങ്കിലും വിശ്വാസപരമായിട്ട് ഉള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് മാതൃകാപരമാണോ? അതാണ് ചോദ്യം.
Yeah, science, if you include, science becomes fun and interesting when we include sports, dance, arts, entertainment, leisure, spiritual, everything together. Definitely we have worked for the scientific project. As an individual, I have my own belief and faith, a fear that whatever we have worked should work. So it's a team of scientists who have worked for it. But what I mentioned, if one strand of that 1,000 and 10,000 strands of cable, one simply comes out, the mission is done. So there is in Malayalam, Nyan Padi Devam Padi. So I have done even though I have done the 100% of scientific work and made the missile ready before going for the launch, the Nyan Padi Devam Padi will come in our mind. It's the spiritual part of us which calls for that, oh God, this should go well. So that is by nature individual. One may show it out by doing a prayer or something like that. One takes it within own mind, but still every individual who have worked for it will pray for the success of the launch. That's
Yes, I understood the.
Madam, first of all, thank you for the beautiful enlightenment that you have given to us this afternoon. Madam, in India, with the implementation of NEP 2020, and most of the children in schools and in the colleges and university fairly having a knowledge on computers with the advent of the mobile phones and things like that, what do you foresee for the country in the next 25 years?
definitely the generation of kids or the youth who are going to be there, we'll see vast change. But from my own experience, without knowing what is rocket technology, I went and became a missile scientist or a missile technology scientist. Learning about it with time, development, we took almost 30 years. This generation need not spend that 30 years. They can give outputs within 5 to 10 years because all technology and know-how are around them. So the pace with which the science can develop or the scientific technologies can develop is going to be in a higher rate. That's the difference what we will see from the next generation young kids. They are wonderful kids because their knowledge and the brain Today we talk about artificial intelligence. When I joined as a junior scientist, 1980s also, I started learning about artificial intelligence. But it was just a vague knowledge. Nothing implementable was coming to our mind. But way through the journey, when I moved from missile technology to fighter aircraft, unmanned fighter aircraft where pilot is not in loop, where we have to build in AI-based algorithms, predictive, corrective algorithms to identify. The computer itself has to say that an incoming aircraft is a friend or a foe, identification friend or foe, logics. They are all built on artificial intelligence. But within that, we took almost 20 to 30 years to understand that part of science. But to next generation should not suffer to that extent. They should come out with the knowledge capability within few years. That is what the education difference has to come, and it will definitely happen. They are not going to be bound by textbook knowledge. So things will change, and within 20 30 years, our country should be a country which will be well ahead of first of its kind technologies. Today we depend on others. We are with most of the technologies, we come third, fourth as the top within the as emerging countries for like missiles or anti-satellite systems, anti-ballistic missiles. We become the third or fourth to be proven to succeed. But within few years, you'll find that India is the topmost in the technology development. That will happen, definitely.
Yeah, first of all, it is a great pleasure and an honor to come face to face with you because I have been following your career progression for many years. And I mean, we are really proud that you have managed to reach this level in a field which is, I would say, dominated by males. Very few women are there. So we are very happy to interact with you. And my question is about attracting more children and youth to science. Now we see that more and more children are moving away from science, especially the pure sciences, mathematics, physics, and all. So how do we bring them back? Because one thing I see is whenever there is a great achievement, like the recent Chandrayaan, when there was the telecast, everybody was glued to the TV. Everyone is interested. And then to see, the follow the path and then to see how it is going up. So why are not efforts made to bring these things to the school students and the college students in a way that you go and talk to them and tell them how we are doing it and what we have achieved. See, seeing the Chandrayaan going up and feeling very happy about it is different. But to tell them what a great achievement it is and what the achievement of the missiles, as you have just explained, how the range has gone from 500 to 3,500 and the great work that goes into reaching there. So why are we not having more outreach programs where we can go and talk to the children, talk to the women? I come from a women's organization and we do a lot of awareness among children and women. And so how do we take this forward?
Ma'am, things have changed. Earlier, DRDO was considered as a secret organization developing technologies for the first time. Once we have become successful in most of our programs and projects, we have come out and now it is open for the school children as well. As we go and take outreach programs, we go and teach them. They can come and take up internship, see in our exhibitions, more number of scientific exhibitions. Same is the case with ISRO also. So we are coming out open for teaching the young generation, the school level, the science part, what we have already learned and what we have already experienced. I think it's now open to get the knowledge. Websites are there. Most of the system details, how we achieve the design part, are all put across for the public students to view and public also to view. There's no more, unless otherwise very important strategic systems. All other systems are given for knowledge sharing. There's no There's no problem. Platforms are there. And we do scientists go across the schools, school and college level and give presentation to what are the technologies what we are having. And we give student projects, we give college level projects from DRDO as well as ISRO, funded to the many of the academic institutions. Earlier it was restricted to IIScs and IITs and all. Today it's not like that. Any academic institution, professional institutions capable of doing the project, it's been given. So that's the way all outreach programs are and all research initiatives are taken up now.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Sir,
evening.
my question is, ma'am, as AI is so relevant now, artificial intelligence, do you think AI can replace human efforts? And if so, do you think the input of AI will be better, will give better results than human, or it's the same, like we are better than?
Yeah, no way comparison of any intelligence, no comparison to the human intelligence. Final decision taking capability somewhere or the human brains take. But these are autonomous, independent, intelligent algorithms where mathematical computations and cognitive computing technologies are involved, where AI plays in a faster way. So like we give what I mentioned to for execution of a program in a computer. Computer does it faster than the human being. Or you calculate manual calculation to calculator, it's different. The fastness, that is the way you have to see that artificial intelligence becomes an aiding intelligent tool in understanding the situation. Like for a fighter aircraft, as an unmanned, if it has to go, it has to have the total situational awareness. So the artificial intelligence, what the packages put for tracking of the data, input coming, whether it's one of the aircraft is coming, is it an Indian Air Force aircraft, is a Navy aircraft, or a outside enemy aircraft? How do you identify? So a set of database, intelligent database will reside in the computers, where from we see the image or track and correlate with what is inside with the computer and decide whether it belongs to our own country or so. It is aiding. It becomes a tool, intelligent tool in helping the human. Human cannot be replaced. Human has to be there, coexist to uplift the knowledge. That's the way.
If there are no more questions,
Do we have any other questions from the audience? Yes.
Ma'am, Dr. George Georgis, in his book, Step of the Peacock, he has written that the Kerala's contribution to mathematics is so great. So, can we excel in space technology and whatever the other missile technology, etc., in other parts of the world than, because we had a great tradition of mathematics?
That's true. The individuals within Kerala is proving that. So doesn't there is no doubt about it. It's the individual who learns mathematics becomes a performer. So Kerala stands good at proving that. Yes, Kerala stands. India stands at the top. Yes, India stands. So we have to take it wherever the knowledge is coming, wherever the learning is happening. It's again based on the three dimensions in a human life: the individual, the society, and then the environment or the economic environment of the nation. These three things together makes the achievement of the country. So everybody from any part of the world can prove the science part. Madam Mary Curie, if you think 1903, she's one of the Nobel laureates, winning Nobel Prize twice. both in physics and chemistry. Where do we stand? So science or the technology comes from any individual who is capable of let it happen from anywhere of the country. Let the science come for the welfare of the whole mankind, humankind. Support our family, children. They will all do wonderful things.
Yeah. Are there any more questions?
In the country, some people are not remembered actually, some or respected, so they will not be remembered forever in science and technology. Like Srinivasa Ramanujam, he was born in 1887 and died in 1927, and his contribution, and he worked in the Cambridge then for in mathematical theory, and his theory was revealed, and he has got a diary, and that diary has been stolen, and it was discovered only in 1976. There is a dispute. So like that, science part and technology part, like Vikram Sarabhai sir, now people are not mentioning his name everywhere because he started like such things. So here people should be respected in the society of where technology grows, not with discrimination or polarization. This is the thing.
That's true. That's why there is a word called mischief. People are mischievous. Doesn't give the full respect to the some. It so happens. That's what
That's the
I
larger
feel.
point I was making.
Yeah.
The point I was making is that, I mean, to simplify for everyone, you made a very deep point, and I appreciate what you said. But I think the point I was making, when ma'am got her humility came in the way, but we have to look beyond our icons who stay for life, who are not just sportsmen and Bollywood celebrities. We remember people who are, scientific icons, like the names you took. Absolutely. Shall we close the session now? I think, sorry.
Thank you, madam, for a fantastic discourse. Thank you for giving us a preview of your life in your career. My question is, what is your take on science communication with regard to scientists? Like, I think someone had already asked about outreach programs. But apart from outreach programs which are limited, what can scientists do? What sort of role can they play in disseminating science to the general public? Given the fact that there has been a significant interest among the laymen, especially for high-profile missions like Chandrayaan, like last year. So what can we do as scientists, and how can we break the stigma?
Yeah, there are so many other professional bodies, engineering professional bodies, where we start programs like teaching the school and college level. Like you mentioned, some of the retired scientists can take up some startups where we can give a transformative education to the school and college. So this is one welcome approach, that scientists get together, or the engineering professionals get together and teach or give a education. That's already coming up, like for IIT entrance training. Alumni of IITs are making steps in teaching the children online courses. Like that, things can be taken up. And as a society, we have to feel that responsibility of making this young generation learn. So this has to come out as a societal requirement, and things has to change. I think we are all there as free mind to spend time for all those. Yeah.
Good. If we are done, then can we thank ma'am for a fabulous time. Thank you very much for
Thank you, sir.
patiently taking all the questions. Really insightful. For me, it was really a revolution. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. For me too.